He's the man to do the damage. Oh! As he looks for another headshot!
I picked out, as I do every week, for the unofficially titled Premier Ejaculation, which is not what we call it in the thumbnails. We call it the Premier League review. Let's start with Newcastle. Why not? They're my team. They're not really my team. I do have to support somebody else. I will support Gateshead or something, but whatever. We had a 3-3 draw with Man City, and everyone went, wow, what a game of football. That's the game of the season. Newcastle were excellent. Who knew? Well, first of all, I didn't have us getting a result against City, but I will say, like, the Newcastle squad, people don't give it credit for how good it actually is. It's thin. It will not stand up to injuries over the course of a season, but it's got some real high points. One of the high points for me, and not everybody agrees with this, but it's Almiron coming back into the team. Steve Bruce didn't know what he had. Steve Bruce is a fucking idiot. Almiron wasn't getting a lot of play under him. Now, Almiron is a workhorse. He loves Newcastle, works well for the team. I've been a fan of his ever since he came. He misses a lot of sitters, but he gets himself into positions. He runs all day, and when he scores, they're usually fucking screamers. Obviously, he got us off with the first goal here, and Almiron definitely is a big W for me coming back into the team. I'll also say, Kieran Trippier, who scored a fucking absolutely banging free kick, as good a free kick as you're going to see. He's been an unbelievable signing for us and just cruelly got injured about 12 games out of last season. And he is fucking really, really good. He's good defensively. He's good going forward. At a time, and we're going to get into this, when England right-backs are dog shit, you have to wonder about Trippier maybe getting back into the England lineup if he can stay fit. But anyway, whatever. The real bright point today was what I said needed to happen if we wanted to be like legitimate contenders for Europe. And that was obviously St. Maximin has to be up for it. He was fucking absolutely outrageous, unplayable, clear man of the match, by the way, in a Man City game that had like some unbelievable moments from De Bruyne and Gundogan. Cancelo, I thought, had a good game. But St. Maximin was absolutely fucking unplayable and was the best player on the park by a million miles. Now, my worry is this, that St. Maximin, he's been linked with a move. And funnily enough, I saw Manchester United were linked with him in one of the gossip columns, as if he would do that to himself. I can leave the world's wealthiest... It's like that shit trade meme. I give, you get. I'm going to leave the world's wealthiest club where I'm absolutely fucking adored. And he's not just adored because of how well he plays. Like, you find him all the time tweeting shit out. Like, he just bought some fan, like, a luxury, like, fucking watch and just gave it to them because he'd seen them in the crowd one time with the Maximan shirt and stuff like this. Motherfuckers love this guy. He says all the right things and he plays well. But I will add, my worry is that St. Maximin is going to be one of these players who's unbelievably up for the big games, but the, archetypal wet weekend at Wolverhampton, is he going to be in those games when he's getting, the shit kicked out of him? And I've definitely seen a little bit of that, but if this is the form he's going to maintain over the season and, stays fit, and we definitely don't lose him to one of the other clubs, I'm absolutely over the moon to have St. Maximin. I'll also add Callum Wilson. Please stay fit, mate. He's a player that I've always thought he was a decent striker, but man alive, he had some really good runs, really good moments against the City defence. And this is the controversial part of what I'm about to say. Everyone was going, wow, well done, Newcastle. You got a draw against Manchester City. We were 3-1 up, and we were the better team in the first half. And for me, if you're serious about kicking on for Europe and serious for being a team, you don't celebrate a draw when you're 3-1 up. You should be pissed off. You should be angry about it. You should be telling the players that they bottled it a little bit. Now, look, the 2 goals that we fucking did concede were unbelievable, passes, but we switched off. We got rattled, and we let them get back to 3-3. We needed to fucking calm down, stick the fucking boot in a bit, slow the game down, but we didn't do it. We basically were trying to play City's game from 3-1 up, and we didn't need to do any of that. For me, if you're 3-1 up at home, you win the game. If you don't, you fucked up, and you should be critical. I don't care who it's against, and I thought we were a little bit misty-eyed and starry-eyed. I don't want to celebrate in 3-3 draws at home. That's some Kevin Keegan era bullshit, and we shouldn't be going back to those days. Because, yes, while they were if I could have foresaw what was going to come afterwards, I would have been upset about it. I also was one of the few people who were saying we're not going to win a trophy under Keegan because he just absolutely refused to do any of the defensive work or bring in players that would. So overall, happy. And the league should be happy. We have shown that your immortals, everyone's pick to fucking win the league at a canter, we have shown that they do indeed bleed. We've made them drop points. And Liverpool will be absolutely grateful for that. And why? Because, well, it's fucking... Listen, it's too early to say I shouldn't have picked them to win the league. Where I fucked up was I didn't realise how much the injuries were going to hurt Liverpool. And they really have. I thought the Liverpool squad was a bit more robust, but I'm just going to say it, against United, where Liverpool lost 2-1. For the first half, it was basically men against boys. Like, United were all over them, really were up for it. They needed to be. There was obviously protests outside the stadium coming in. Ten Hag needed a big win because he made some mad controversial, well, they shouldn't be controversial, but he made some controversial selection decisions. Keep in mind, he did the one thing that I said on this very show last week, that all they had to do to get competitive again was drop Harry Maguire. Guys, Harry Maguire is not a Premier League caliber player. I've said he could maybe play it like some of the relegation fodder down there. I don't even think that's true anymore. I think this motherfucker would get skinned at the high end of the Championship. Harry Maguire has to go. He's got to go. He cannot come back into the team. He's delusional. I've shown people the interview where he says, listen, if I'm so bad, why am I getting picked all the time? Well, I'll tell you why, slabhead. Because you're a super expensive English player who's already got caps. It's just like what we do in England. England managers don't even look at the form. It's why, like, for years, Tottenham players would just walk into the fucking England squad when they weren't good enough. And nobody is actually watching you play. But now that you've had all these high-profile mistakes, people are paying attention. You are not a captain. The big fuck up wasn't just making you the most expensive defender in the world, Harry. It was actually making you a captain, because as you proved with that debacle in Greece, you've got no leadership qualities. You're fundamentally unlikable, and now you're absolutely dog shit. And so that's it. You cannot be a United player, and man alive, that beautiful bald head. I grew up hating United, but I want Ten Hag to succeed, because he showed me, much like his head looking like a testicle, he's got big balls. To drop your captain, the most expensive defender in the world, for a fucking must-win game at home against Liverpool, balls. Absolute spuds that you have to put in a wheelbarrow. Fucking beast. And then, on top of that, he left Ronaldo out as well, didn't he? He left him out of the starting lineup, and Ronaldo definitely wanted to play against Liverpool, especially when he's anchoring for a move away from the club. And that also takes balls, huge balls. But Ronaldo, by the way, should not be in the starting lineup. I know everybody loves him down there, and with good reason, but he's massively disrespected the club. Walking out of a friendly after you've substituted is unacceptable. And yes, all of this stems from a dressing room bust-up between him and Maguire. Apparently, the stories go, Maguire was made captain. Ronaldo came back and said, I'll get the armband now, right? And Maguire wouldn't let him have it. And so they fell out immediately. Just cut that cancer out of your club. Like, Ronaldo has been a great servant to Man United. He was still one of your top scorers. You know, banged in a ton of goals for you. He's that good. He's always going to be good. But he is coming up to the end of his career. He clearly doesn't want to be there. He clearly doesn't vibe with Ten Hag. And he clearly can't share a dressing room with Harry Maguire, who also shouldn't be there. Just get him out. Get him out, and it's problem solved. And they proved it here. I was a bit underwhelmed by the starting lineup when I saw it on paper. I really thought, I even said on the Discord, it's going to be 3-0 to Liverpool. But they put in a shift right at the start. They put themselves about. And without fucking Maguire there, Varane looked fucking amazing. You had players, by the way, that, like, there's no way they should have been, like, as good as what they were. Malacia, he was, like, one of the best players on the fucking park. The defence actually looked fucking solid. And you haven't been able to say that about United for a hot minute. Now, I'll add at the other end, I think Liverpool deserved a draw out of this. Bit of a controversial opinion, I'm sure. I saw Klopp saying that they should have won the game, and people were like going, no, Klopp's fucking delusional. I mean, the numbers don't fucking lie. Again, it was a monster possession performance from Liverpool. 71% possession, 17 shots, but only 5 on target. They missed Nunes. I mean, if you ever want to see how much one red card can really fuck up key moments of a season, you know, he's out for another 2 games after this, and they really needed someone in the box putting pressure on those defenders. But now, here is the thing where, again, much like Harry Maguire, I was right, fuck you, I was right. We have to talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is a fucking liability. I couldn't believe people were actually defending him last time. Man, look, listen. He is so bad defensively. Like absolutely a fucking fraud. That is the first choice England right back. He lacks absolute, like, just the basics. Like, if you saw a schoolboy playing like that, you would say, like, he's never going to make the grade at the next level. Like, I've also heard from Liverpool fans and Trent apologists. He's really good going forward. He's a wicked crosser of the ball. Go watch some of his deliveries in that game, right? He was absolutely responsible for this defeat, almost single-handedly. I know Van Dijk looked shaky. To be fair, mate, I'd be drinking at fucking 8 a.m. in the morning if I had to go out and cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold's mistakes. That's a pressure cooker. No one should have to do that. He's so bad. This was all on Trent. I'll tell you why. First of all, for the first goal, he was getting skinned. For the first 20 minutes of the game, he didn't track back on the goal. He's like, you can see the clip. Obviously, I can't play it for you here. He was literally jogging while Sancho had the ball in the box. He couldn't even be bothered to close down and make up for his mistake. Shameful. Like, put it this way. Ian Armin, Ricardo Castro, or Richard Lewis team, you do that shit, you're out. You are gone. You are on the bench for the next game. I don't give a fuck who you are or what your reputation is. The bare minimum is your fucking run. But this guy is responsible for the second goal. He actually lost possession. Liverpool were having a dominant period of possession, and he's gone for one of those trademark right foot, ball over the top to nobody that everyone raves about when they actually connect, but more often than not at the moment they don't, and they score from that possession. I'll also add that goal for Rashford, they've been calling people like, if your fingertips were over the offside line, you were fucking offside. They've been calling that all weekend. And then for this one, they didn't draw them lines. I couldn't help but notice at Old Trafford. Well, some things never change. But anyway, Trent Alexander-Arnold has got to go. This loss entirely on him. And remember, he got fucking wrecked by Mitrovic in the Fulham game to cost him a draw. Who can forget what he did in the fucking Champions League? How do you lose Vinicius Jr.? I can close my eyes and tell you where he's going to play. Absolute shocking. He's a real problem for Liverpool, and they've absolutely got to fix it. In terms of what this does to Liverpool's season, it's not panic stations yet. Nothing has been decided in the first 3 games. But I'll add, like, they have got a home game against Bournemouth, and suddenly mad pressure for that, because if they end up with a draw there, people are going to put Klopp on fraud watch. All the injuries in the world aren't going to be an excuse. Here's the other one. And by the way, one of the most heartwarming, nice, wholesome comments I've been getting from all of the football content on my channel has been from Americans. Just spent the first half of the stream bashing your government and your immigration policies. But as you know, I lived in America. I love America. I've got lots of American fans. They make up something like 28% of all viewers across all of my content. So I say, yeah, you are recognised. And I was very dismissive of Leeds. I said in my initial review, I was like, listen, I don't think Leeds have bought particularly well. I don't think they have brought in Premier League experience, which you're going to need. I'm a bit dubious about some of their players. And I had a bunch of Americans telling me, oh, no, wait till you see, like, Aronson. Wait till you see him. And I was like, all right, well, wait till I see him. Well, I've seen him. Leeds United beat Chelsea 3-0. Now, somebody said, he's going to say Leeds going to win the league. No, just reactionary, football reactionary, that's all you are. Right, I'm not going to say that. This is proving me right about Chelsea and everything I said about Chelsea, which I'll get into. It's worth talking about just putting a spotlight on a player who's obviously going to be big for them over the course of the season. And obviously it's this Aronson guy. He was really, really good. He's come off that RB Salzburg, the Austrian team. He's come off that, like, conveyor belt of, like, talent. It's actually ridiculous if you go and look at it. They were the ones that built up Erling Haaland, Patson Daka, Mane's from there if you go back a little bit further, Hedera. It's pretty mental. It's pretty mental, like, the players that they've sold. And obviously Aronson's come off this conveyor belt of talent. No joke, like, he looks to be up for the Prem. He looks like he is somebody that is going to be able to handle the paces of the Prem. He's only 21. He's a full United States international with, 22 caps. He could be one of the signings of the season. Like, he's been great in every game so far. Seems a nice kid. Seems totally up for it. And I think they got him for, like, I think it was like 10 mil or something, 12 mil. So definitely shouldn't have overlooked him. And if you're an American wanting to get into the Premier League and you're watching this content, you should just support Leeds. Why not? It'll be exciting. They're feast or famine ever since they've come back into the Premier League. They've got a really good history. They had one of the best, historically speaking, they had one of the best ever English youth production lines since the great team in United. And yeah, it actually looks to me like they've really done their homework with this guy. Aronson run Chelsea ragged. So respect where it's due. I'll always admit when I'm wrong. And I was certainly wrong to be dismissive of his contribution. And certainly, so far, with 7 points, wrong to be dismissive of Leeds. But let's get into it. Chelsea. What did I tell you? They are in a weird place. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they should be much, much better than what they are, and they are not. For reasons I can't understand. They are brittle. That is the word to describe Chelsea. Huge names in every position all over the pitch, and yet lacking. Really, really lacking. Very, I know, like, disjointed is the word, I guess. Now, for me, I think all of the problems stem from the fact that they don't have an established striker. Without Lukaku there, that was a huge expensive flop. For me, what they needed to do going into this season was actually prioritise a striker. They had one of the best defences last season, yet they strengthened there. They've got N'Golo Kante, who I believe, he was injured for this game. He would have made a difference. But N'Golo Kante is obviously like one of the best all-round midfielders, like, probably ever. He's fucking crazy, his engine. But there's nothing going forward. They got Raheem Sterling in there, and he had a couple of nice shots, a couple of moments. It was really weird, actually, because the media did what they always do with Sterling. Everyone hates Raheem Sterling. I don't know why. People were blaming him, saying that, like, oh, he didn't get a couple of decisions from the ref, and then he, like, didn't want to play in the game. It's like, bro, he's a midfielder. Like, you don't have any strikers. And so it looks like Aubameyang is a done deal. Obviously knows Tuchel from his time at Dortmund. They obviously want to play with each other again and work with each other again. You know, for me, I think they need another option as well. They've got to have somebody that can, like, put it about in the box. They lack any kind of, like, threat of that nature, except from their centre-backs. You know, Chelsea are a team that are probably going to score a boatload of goals from set pieces, but this season, not a lot from open play, especially with this squad. I also got to say, Koulibaly, like, what a stupid fucking red card. Actually, the both of the yellows he picked up was so unbelievably dumb and avoidable. I'd be furious. I'd be fucking livid if I was his manager. That was just like, on a yellow card, like, game was over anyway. You weren't going to get back into it, like, and you're pulling players, which is what you got put for in the first place. Just really, really terrible. They're going to have to really get this mental game of theirs resolved, because Mendy had a nightmare, and Chelsea were the better team up until Mendy fucked up with that back pass goal, which again, being chased down by your boy Aronson. So for me, like, once that first goal went in, Chelsea went to pieces, and that is where they're at right now. Remember, it was only like last week on the BBC after they threw what should have been a free win against Tottenham. They basically were going up, Chelsea look unstoppable, they've built a juggernaut, we're all Cockney wankers with London bias at the BBC. It's like absolutely not the takeaway from that game whatsoever. The takeaway from that game was they dominated a game and still only got a draw, and now they fucking got absolutely dominated by Leeds. They've got 4 points on the board, a win, a loss, a draw. I think Chelsea are really going to struggle to get top 4. I'm standing by that. I think I've seen enough this season to say that's going to be good. And also, the spending, all these moves they're being linked with, like, so apparently they have now decided they won't go for Fofana again. £70 million they offered Leicester for Wesley Fofana, another defender, by the way, not what they need. 70 mil, that's over. 70 mil for Fofana, when you don't even need another defender, is madness. And then, obviously, the big talking point, the Everton young player, fucking Gordon. They're desperate to sign him, and they were talking about fucking 60 mil. And it's just not the play. Like, Everton should absolutely sell for that, by the way, and try and bring in a few pieces to avoid relegation, which they are careering towards. But 60 mil for that player, Chelsea, it's crazy. I don't understand it. He's not a £60 million player. And the funny thing is, they've been bringing in Gordon, and Everton are saying, we'll sell him, but we want Broha to come the other way. And Broha's the Albanian youngster that they should be developing. They went after him, highly sought after him, and wanted to get him on the books so they could develop him and turn him into a Premier League caliber player. So, you're going to give that to Everton, take on this unknown quantity for 60 mil, maybe get a Aubameyang as well. I don't know. It's crazy. So Chelsea are throwing all this money to solve all these problems. Must be nice. Remember when we were told Chelsea weren't going to be able to spend any money, and we were all going to be investigated, and they were all going to be shut down because of their ties to Russia and all that. And now they're just pissing money away like it's going out of fashion. But the reality is, you add all these players in at the pace you're adding them across all these positions, there's not going to be any chemistry, there's not going to be any cohesion, and that's Chelsea. Like I say, they're brittle, disjointed, and like I say, I think 5th or 6th this season, looking like a pretty good pull. Sure, with 3 games played. Another prediction that I'll talk about maybe being a bad one. Yeah, there's no way West Ham are getting 5th this season, are they? West Ham look dog shit. Lost again at Brighton. And remember, we rate Brighton in these parts. We rate Potter in these parts. Brighton might even be a team that can kick on and get, like, European football this season, honestly. They've made all the improvements. They're really starting this season strong. Again, on 7 points with Spurs and City. Who fucking knows? But West Ham just have nothing. They've got nothing. I don't know what's happened. Like, someone wants to put fucking Antonio's photo on the side of a milk cart, and he's just totally missing. I keep forgetting he's on the pitch. I'll also say it, like, Declan Rice. I remember Moyes said in the current market, Declan Rice was a £150 million midfielder. And I'm going to say it, man. Nah, like, this season, Rice has looked really... It's not just because he missed the penalty, but Rice just isn't getting a hold of games. He's not taking over games like a midfielder of his quality should. And he's another one of these players who, if it keeps going like this, it's fraud watch all over again for Declan Rice. Like, this is a guy, by the way, like, when West Ham got 5th last season, he was, like, instrumental. But I feel really sorry for them now. Like, apart from, like, the odd flash from, like, Creswell or Souček or... Ben Rama's had a pretty decent season. He's been the best of a bad bunch, probably, for me. They just don't have anything going forward, and they're conceding goals on top of that. Not particularly bad defence. But, again, look at the stats. West Ham had more shots on target than Brighton in a game they lost 2-0. Brighton only had 2 shots on target. Both goals, 50-50 possession was even. But West Ham, just the quality of the chances they're creating, they're not good. When they are creating chances, they're not putting them away. And I don't know, and Schumacher, he's up and running on his West Ham account. He scored in Europe. But yeah, they need some more quality in that side. And some of these big name players who had storming seasons last season, they got to wake the fuck up. They're still on holiday. So yeah, West Ham, they're not getting 5th. I'm probably halfway through the season going to do like a revision of like my predictions and where we actually ended up. But I can't see them getting fifth now. Newcastle have a better chance of getting fifth. Brighton have a better chance of getting fifth. Leeds have a better chance of getting. No, I'm just kidding. No, let's not go too far. Strong mid-table finish for Leeds probably. And then finally we get to fraud watch. Everton grinded out a draw against Nottingham Forest. More exhibits in the case I'm building for Everton to go down, and Frank Lampard being one of the most fraudulent managers to ever ply his trade in the Premier League. Again, they looked terrible for most of this game. Forest were a much better side, much stronger. It felt like going forward. Another good performance from Nico Williams, who you all said was shit in chat, but I told you he's a Welsh godhead, and here we are. I thought, honestly, Forest were good value for a win here. They looked solid defensively. Gibbs White was in the team as well. I think he's like superb. Overvalued. As I said on the last show, someone was arguing about that in the comments. I'm like, he's a 20 for me, he's like a 25 million pound tops player, and Forest have paid 43, and I think that's English tax, and I don't think it's a good signing. But back to talking about Everton. They were dug out of the hole by Birmingham Blues alumni Damari Gray. I've seen him play a few times in Birmingham. 88th minute equaliser. It's just not good enough. These are the games where you have to grind out wins. Forest, over the course of the season, they're going to be fighting to stay up. It's inevitable. It's just how it happens. For some reason, probably right now, the best thing about Everton is Iwobi, probably. I'm trying to remember the game now, but he really stood out to me. And Iwobi seems to be like some fucking legendary box-to-box midfielder all of a sudden. He seems to be involved in everything, forward and backward. He's still not got the skill set to be a truly great player, but he's having impact. He's getting the ball. He's asking for the ball. He's distributing the ball. He's making runs. He's been a busy player. A lot of the other Everton players, they just don't look like they're fucking interested. I don't know why Rondon keeps getting fucking brought on. He just isn't good enough for the Prem. Benitez, put him in as a fucking sleeper agent. It's a joke. But the bottom line is, Everton, to me, just look like a team that has no identity, has no tactical acumen, has no ideas about what they want to do or how they're going to stamp their authority. And, you look at the stats, they had less possession, again, generated lots of shots, which, they say 19 here, but for me, probably not. It doesn't even feel that that's real that they had 19 shots. A lot of them were speculative fluffers from fucking, 30 yards or whatever. But, they had a decent amount of shots on target, and they were still only able to come away with the one goal. They just lack quality everywhere, Everton, and it's terrifying because they are now a club that needs to sell to buy, and unfortunately, that means that they are really, really in trouble this season for me. I've seen all of the teams play now, and other than West Ham, Everton are the worst. Even Villa have picked up a result, and Villa are Jekyll and Hyde football at its finest. So yeah, I think Lampard's going to get the sack. One of two things will be absolutely true this season. They stick with Lampard and they get relegated, or Lampard is the first manager to get sacked. If you place money on both, you're guaranteed one bet. There's no way Lampard can keep clinging to his job if things stay like this. I don't know why the club would want to, back him. He's done absolutely nothing since he got there. So that's it, I think. Yes, I think that's covered all of the big talking points from the Premier League so far. Overall, feeling pretty good about my picks. We still need a few more games to see who's going to do what. Saturday's games, there's some interesting ones. Arsenal versus Fulham. I've said it, I didn't want to talk about Arsenal versus Bournemouth, but I will just throw it in there. Arsenal are looking absolutely sublime this season. Probably alongside with City, the best football being played in the Premier League right now. I think it's a real toss-up between them. Jesus is so fucking legit. As I said, signing of the season, it is going to be. And they absolutely annihilated Bournemouth last time out. 3-0, but that doesn't tell the full story. And Odegaard picking up a couple of goals. Saliba, there's just, Jesus was giving out assists and creating just trouble and runs. His first assist for the opening goal, sublime. Really excited by this Arsenal team and where they're at right now. They're still clearing out Deadwood. I think Pepe is next to go. Good. Get him out. Just get him off the books. They're just a joy to watch right now, for real. Oh, and by the way, I told you, Zinchenko, whoo, man alive, dominated that game. I mean, Jesus was like man of the match, but Zinchenko, absolutely a godhead of a player, you know. He's out there on the left, tidy, calm, composed, but he did what he's done at various points in his career. He actually came in, they went to a back three for a moment of time, and Zinchenko was just playing in front of them and distributing the ball, calm, composed, cool. Another fantastic signing. Everything I've seen from Arsenal so far this season tells me they're guaranteed top four, tells me they've done the best bit of transfer business out of anyone in the league. And like I say, again, if you're a casual footballer, just tune in for Arsenal games because, you know, they aren't Man City and they're playing the best football in the league. But anyway, the games that are coming up, there's a couple of interesting ones. Obviously, we're going to find out how bad things are for Chelsea and Leicester. They take each other on. Super interesting. With the Fofana drama, apparently Fofana isn't going to play. That's what they're saying. Like, Brendan Rodgers is going to drop him. He said he's not mentally right. I think he's training with the under-23s at the moment or something. So that's super interesting. Brentford, Everton. Brentford at home for that. You back Brentford there. I think Brentford have looked solid this season, despite obviously, you know, losing big name players, and Everton are just dog shit. That's the one where Lampard out chants are going to start. They're going to lose that one for sure. I already talked about the significance of the Liverpool-Bournemouth game. If you cannot get your season up and running against the favourite for relegation at home, you're in for a long, long season. And I'll call this one as well, and we'll see if anybody agrees. Palace to pick up a point against City. I'm feeling it. Get some early question marks in. I think Palace have actually had like a pretty good start to the season. I did call them mid-table mediocrity incarnate. Palace are away to City. It's a hard place to go. I just feel right now at this time and place in the season, plus Man City aren't going to be fresh. They played a pretty strong team yesterday against Barcelona for some fucked up thing they were doing. So, yeah, I'm feeling it. Zaha is looking lethal at the moment. It's not just about him, but I'm telling you, I feel that's going to be like a score draw, you know, 1-1. So we'll see. Some predictions, throwing them out there. And there you go. That is the big head, big Premier League talk.